No, but and actually, as you mentioned, you can start by solving one problem and implement on this solution. I think it's also what's interesting in such a project. As you say, there is, and especially the last point you mentioned about like finding the best way or the most efficient way to bring this to there. It starts to be complicated technically, like to do that. But anyhow, it doesn't. You can still start the project and continue to work on this, but you don't need to have everything finished at the same time to start to have a viable product.
Absolutely.
So I think it's also what you guys are doing by working on those several projects. It doesn't mean that everything has to be done right now. I mean, it's better if it could, but the thing is, like, you can actually work on several things at the same time and try to gain experience from one project to the other.
You're definitely reading our minds.
Yeah, well, and that's really one of the reasons that we are kind of putting all of these projects out at once, is because they're going to take a little bit to catch on, but once people are into the idea of using, if it's digital currency even, there are going to be several options of where they can use it. So maybe we can even now transition onto our other one that does have more of a specific digital currency component. So first we'll talk about Djangui, local savings account management. And so Djangui, or some people call it tontine. I've heard it referred to that in other African countries as well. It's this idea of like a local savings account. And by local, meaning not really involved specifically with a bank, usually sort of within some kind of community, whether it's, a group of people that are selling at the market near each other, or if it's, a church group, or, different types of groups, whatever reason they come together, they have these informal systems where people are contributing to a large pot, and then as people have needs, they get sort of that pot for the month. And there are different ways that people organize it, but in general, that's how it is. Everyone's contributing, and then maybe one person or two people get the whole amount each month. And there are problems with it. Sometimes the treasurer runs off with the funds, etc. So in this interview, we talked to someone in the market who does a savings account, and I'll let Manfo talk about it a little bit more.
Yeah, so the original Djangui or tontine idea is, what Megan just explained. But over time, people kind of lost confidence in, just like she mentioned, the guy like collecting the money just runs off with the money or stuff like that. So what they did is they went back to working with microfinances, and especially like those who sell at the market. What actually happens is, at the end of the day, there's one agent, a collector agent. So he goes around and he has, let's say, 10 vendors under his account, and he collects money from them. So it's daily contribution. Some choose to do it on a weekly basis, and it depends on how much, the level of your activity. And what he does with it is he goes back to the bank, and we have two cases. He could create account for his customers, meaning the vendors, and deposit the money into it. Or he could just create his own account and put all the money into it. So, we've seen so many problems with that. Some collectors, when they get like a huge lump of money, is that a word? Okay, thank you. He just run away with it. Sometimes we have microfinances just closing. The next day you come, you don't see anything. And in the interview that you seeing behind, the guy actually did experiment.
Yeah, he experienced that.
He experienced
that he lost. Yeah,
almost $1,000. Yeah, like his microfinance or the microfinance he was attached to just closed.
Yeah, and you would think that that kind of a situation would discourage him from continuing with this type of system, but they don't. He doesn't feel like he has a better option. He doesn't want to just go and put his own money in the bank.
Yeah.
You never trust the bankers. No, but I think that, as you say, like it's really important, because first of all, that it's something really important for you, Manfo, because your family did that, you know exactly how it works and the problem links to that, and as you say, like the problem, we don't really know what it is in Western countries. Like you don't have any other option. So like it's how it works. So like that's how the small savings I made. And I think that you're going to explain us how it works on blockchain, but suddenly with blockchain, somehow you can solve all these problems, and honestly pretty easily. So like you can bring, sorry, I spoke too much, but it's really the thing, because I think it's really important on how this is actually tackling something that almost, I think, all African countries are facing right now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So the idea here is really to make sure that we are introducing a digital currency, to start getting people used to the idea of a digital currency, because that's like the first step in this project. And then, allowing them to make these savings using that digital currency. And we want to remove we want to make sure that they have ownership of their money. So
and visibility.
Yeah, because another big issue they are faced with is they just have notebooks to record, the contribution, the transactions, and when they lose them, all their faith is on the collector
willing of the guy who got the money.
Exactly. So that's something that we want to address as well. But I think the most interesting thing about this is, how do we then bring this back to the tontine we used to have before, that we started with in the first place? Like people with common and similar interests, whatever it is, getting together and making this contribution on a daily or monthly basis or whatever, and then giving that package to one winner so that he could go off and start a business with it. So once we have people okay with the idea of a digital currency, and then we have people doing this with a collector agent that doesn't have that much power over the thing, just kind of limiting the role of the microfinance, maybe just as an exchange platform or mechanism. And we want to move on to allowing people with their savings to borrow that money, to lend. Okay, and going one step at a time, and finally, bringing the community together and saying, hey, look, you got together, you have the same goal, you share some common interests. Let's go back to the tontine this time. You're not going to worry about your money being taken away, because you see everything on the blockchain, and so that's the main idea behind this project.
So if I will understand, the idea is just you're not going to create anything new. You're just going to use something which is existing, and you're just going to bring a security and safety and trust layer over this. But actually the concept is exactly, and I think it's really important because it means that people are going to understand. It's not like something completely new. You just show them that there is a new layer so they can trust the thing and there is security.
Absolutely. Well, and I think this is kind of related to another proposal that we have, which is really, training women on Bluetooth and giving them the tools to actually like come up with this model that fit the local context. Like
300 Plutus trained women by 2025.
Thank you, Megan. And the idea here
Mark
is
your word.
the idea here is for like, the community to understand that women in Africa, in Cameroon specifically, are the one who actually like implement DeFi solutions within their community. And we don't want to come up, we don't want to bring in like those invasive solutions where you talk about like there's so much terminology out there, and it works in its context, the Western world. But locally here, please don't bring stuff like farming or yield. I don't know if it makes sense, but use local concepts. Just embrace like the local mental model, and build something on top of that. And it's kind of translating that into code, basically. So that's what we're trying to do here. So go women.
No, I think it's really good what you say, and I think it could apply also here because every time there is a new technology or something, at the beginning you think you reinvented the wheel because like new terms and stuff, and most of the time you see that the most effective ideas are the simplest and the thing based on a real problem. And once again, and I think honestly, this idea is for me. It's not that it's the best, but I really understand how into bracket easy it would be because once again you're just doing something that people are doing on a regular basis. It's everybody knows what it is, everybody knows how it works. You just bring blockchain, in that case, just bring an additional layer, that's it. But it's not a new concept, and I think this is really important. If we want to develop the adoption of the technology, we need to come with this kind of solution. I stop and I let you present the next project.
Well, I just want to add one more piece that people might not understand, like looking in, because adding the digital currency and the blockchain piece, it seems extreme maybe, but if you realize how much people are already using quote unquote digital currency, they're using their phone to send like mobile money. It seems like not that far of a stretch. So that will transition into then our next app. Wait, are we calling it an app? Small change wallet. Mm-hmm. What was the category?
Mini dApp.
Mini dApps category. Small change. Everything's small in here. So I'll start.
If I will understand.
So Cameroon has a big problem with small change, meaning like coins. So we are using the franc CFA, the Central African franc, and many things. I mean, you're transacting in things that are like some everyday things could be like 100 francs. And the biggest bill that is really in circulation is 10,000 francs. So kind of there's the range. A taxi for me to the market is like 100 francs for context. And so then in terms of coins, you have a 100, a 50, and a 25. And then there are 5s, but people don't use those. They're too small. They won't even accept them, to be honest. And then for bills, you have a 500, a 1,000, a 2,000, a 5,000, and a 10,000. So the small change really applies to like those small coins, but also a little bit to even the 500 and the 1,000 bills as well. So we did interview a taxi driver. We thought this would be interesting because he's someone, like I mentioned, the trip for me to the market is 100. So he's dealing with these smaller sized transactions. And my trip is pretty short. So he will have, longer trips, maybe like 250 would be the next increment up. And then up to 500 is, a typical trip size, let's just say, per person. But he actually explained that how he deals with the problem of not having change is by purchasing change. He spends more money on getting change just to give himself some security, because when what he was describing is when he goes out in his taxi in the morning, if he feels secure, like he's not going to need to turn people away because he can't give them change. So when he starts his day, he doesn't have any change, let's say. If someone's coming saying they want to do a $100 trip and they have a $500 bill, not dollar, 500 franc, I get caught in that. They have a 500 franc bill. He's going to have to turn them away because he doesn't have change. So he's going to end up turning away so many customers that it's not even worth it. It's worth it to him to literally buy change, and he'll buy, help me, 900 francs.
So he would give 1,000 a 1,000 bill, and get 900 CFA francs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So he's losing 100.
Okay, so he's losing 10% because he comes from a bill to, let's say, coins or like this kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he does that consistently. That's, he's like, nope, that's just what I do. I don't, I want to have my security of being able to give people rides. And then after that point, when he starts his day on that sort of positive note, then throughout the day, he's like playing in his mind, like, okay, I just picked up someone and, they're going to have this change. So I know I can pick up these people. And with that change, I'll be able to reimburse these people. It's like a constant calculation.
Mm-hmm.
And he was also highlighting the problem that you cannot get change from the bank. I think that's another thing that I would expect, that you could go to the bank to withdraw your money and request the type of bills you wanted, even if it was change.
Second time I say it, but never trust bankers.
No, exactly. And so I think we've been describing the problem too much. We should start talking about our solution.
Yeah. Well, I think it's always good to give like a big picture of how serious this is, because we go through this every single day. Our daughter, if you could see her in the morning, trying to offering to buy like change just as it happens.
Well, she takes a motorcycle to school when she's late.
And it's 150 basically from home to school. And she has to, if she has like a 500 CFA bill, she's in trouble.
She's going to either have to overpay significantly, like, sometimes up to 300, so double or more if they literally don't have change, or just keep getting turned down and be late for school.
Yeah. And this comes with so many problems. Even when you go to the supermarket, they don't have change, and they give you these bonds, piece of paper, with some sort of like a, note.
Yeah, like an IOU.
Exactly. But the problem
like store
is,
credit. type thing.
Yeah. The problem is, those gets like faded pretty quick.
Yeah.
So and even like within the neighborhoods, what happens is you go to the store, you can't get the change. They write something to you, and the next day you come, there's someone else, but you need to use your money.
Yeah.
They gave you an IOU, but you can't use it. So the idea of small change is really bringing a solution to that again through like a digital currency. And I don't know if we mentioned this before. We have so many projects, and we are thinking about like, implementing one digital currency that will cut across all of them. So we are really thinking about like cross-cutting concerns like DID and currency. So going back to small change, the idea is to use whatever local digital currency we implement, pegged to the physical currency, CFA, in the case of Cameroon, even if I don't like it very much. It's a starting point, first iteration. And, once people understand that those small change, they could be, using small change as an app, or a wallet to collect that and being able to pay for things through that, I think it will be a game changer for both like businesses, for like people just like you and me going out on the street and having to wait for so long to get a motorcycle or to pay more for a service or stuff like that. So that's like the general solution that we want to bring to it.
And so once again, it's tackle really a local problem. Honestly, I have to confess, I've been several times in Africa. I never really paid attention of this, or probably because I was a tourist, so like I paid a bit more. But no, but like to be more serious, like it's something that we don't face in Western countries, so it's difficult to imagine. So I think it was good that you actually explain exactly what's the problem and how you can come with a solution. So because it's once again, it's really important to tackle local problems. We don't need necessarily, we were discussing this last time. It's now I think that we come from a time where we wanted to build globalized solutions, so one solution fits everybody. No, there is local needs. Let's try to fix local problems with a global technology.
And one thing that I think, so one thing that people are doing to already deal with this solution that they're not, based on the few people that we specifically interviewed. So another interview we did of someone in the market who had a little bit of a different experience, in terms of selling bigger items. So she sells produce. And she was talking about some different ways that she deals with the money change. One is sometimes letting the small things go. Like if she wants to really charge $2,200 for a watermelon, someone doesn't have change, she'll let it go for $2,000, even though she doesn't really want to. Another solution is the mobile money that I talked about. So there's a couple of different ones. There's MTN and Orange are the biggest ones. And again, she was saying that she'll do it if she has to, but a frustrating component of that is that you can send the person buying, so let's say $2,200, they can send her that exact amount. And now if she wants to take it out of her account to use as actual money, she'll get, maybe I think it's $300 in fees.
Oh, somewhere around like 100 to 200, I think.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So there'll be fees, and then usually people are unwilling to pay extra for doing it as mobile money. They think that they should still pay the same amount. So that's where we hope that our solution would sort of solve that problem, in terms of not having as many fees. So they would, it's sort of the same, like we were saying before, it's applying the same type of solution. They're going to mobile money, but providing a solution that addresses some of the problems with how it's being handled through the current solution.
Okay, no, like, you know, something I need to put all the things together, but like what is really interesting is also I see like through the different things you showed us, there is one common link, which is like addressing local problems and just to use blockchain as a layer on top to allow things, but it's not to, you're not going to create something which is completely new to people there all the time. Blockchain is just a plus in order to add some level of security.
It's a tool. Just a tool.
No, exactly. And I think because often, even here, like in France or in Europe or in the US, like when you talk about blockchain, people are like a big, I don't understand what it is. But like if you come to, okay, you are doing this. For instance, I come back to the tontine because I think it's the one that speaks to me the most. I really understand is there is something. So you're going to do, let's say, business as usual. It works the same. Somebody's going to manage and but you know that your phone, you can trace them. They cannot be used without your consent or whatever. But like there is trust and safety level, period. But like the functioning of the tontine is still the same. So you can work as you say with the same people you were working before. It just add a level of, and I think it's really how you can implement things on the ground. It's like through this kind of thing. And once people trust the technology, then you can do things a bit more complex, let's say, or more abstract somehow.
Yeah, and I think I'm glad that you like the Djangui one. I think that it's also kind of the core in the sense of having visibility over your digital assets, right? Like if we think about this small change wallet, what's a possible application that people who are collecting small change in this way, they could be then using it as their savings, right? They kind of all are interlinking. And the reason that we're doing these all together, in addition to sort of what you brought up, and we've said this before, but I'll just say it again here, is that our Cameroon Hub is really pushing an education initiative, and we want to be educating around real projects. So these are real projects that apply to people here on the ground, and we want those people on the ground to be part of actually developing them. So we'll be through our team training people in the technical aspects, but hoping that as we come together, we're creating these solutions together. And that's a big link in these projects is the project-based learning approach and education initiative that we're leading here.
Yeah, and just to add a tiny piece, it's really also looking at the big picture of those cross-cutting concerns, like not having to repeat ourselves, like one digital currency, DID, like solution. Those are the things that will be reused across most of these systems, and this really explains our project-based learning approach in such a way that we could be implementing this through our education initiative when the time comes.
Totally, it makes total sense, and I think it's also good that we have this session, which is a bit longer, but which allows to present really like what's the link between all of this. Like you guys are presenting a lot of projects, so like people might say, but what? But like there is a link between all of this. And I think it was really interesting to give, as you said, the big picture. So there are several things, but they are all linked together by the DAD, by the currency and stuff. So it's just, and I think for us, like if you see it from outside, it's also a great way to bring people using the technology. So I think it really win-win.
Yeah, I'll also add to the numerous proposals that we're not asking for too much, for each of these these proposals. We did really stick with what we thought was fair and minimal budgets. So that's another thing I just wanted to highlight in asking for a couple of different things. They're in the smaller magnitude.
No,
So,
totally.
In our defense.
No, and as you presented, like the last time, it's you try to start to do things and then like do some MVPs and then okay, you can raise more money or find more people attracted. But like this is and it's true, like the amount you are asking for, you cannot develop full projects. It's more like to initiate the thing. And those interviews also show that there is a need, there is something on the ground. So I think it's really promising, and I think that we're gonna have another session like this soon for the other projects or for like follow up on this. And I think that we're gonna work together on interviews so like people can actually like see exactly how it works and how people are interested. So I think we're going to continue on this path.
Yeah, we're definitely going to refine our interviewing skills. It's a lot harder than you think, standing in the market and waiting for people to like pass in front of you, and causing like this big spectacle just for trying to get like a 5-minute clip.
No, it's definitely not easy, especially outside on a market, like because first of all, it's pretty noisy, and as you said, like. But
like to get the best videos, you're in the worst spots to really get footage.
Well, I think the experience was really worth it. Just looking back and realizing that there's a lot of improvement could be done. That on its own is, to me, a big success in this first iteration.
I think it is too. So, like, we're gonna continue to work on this. I think it's good on my side. So I don't know if you guys like said everything you wanted.
Yeah, I think thanks so much for taking the opportunity to talk to us some more and let us show you these, let's say, first iteration video interviews.
No, it's cool.
Yeah, Wendell, thank you very much for having us on your show again. It's always a pleasure to, have these conversations, and we are definitely looking forward for the future.
Thank you, guys. It's always a pleasure to discuss with you, and I think that we should also record what we do in off. Like we could do another series of interviews because like the
maybe
people
French,
just see like in French.
Maybe in French.
Thank you very much, guys. I wish you a very pleasant evening, and we're gonna have such a session pretty soon, I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.